Welcome to Blythe Business News, where today we are joined by Bill Brodie Good, who is the Technical Director of Alien Metals. Alien is listed in London on the AIM exchange with the wonderful ticker for Alien Metals of UFO. Bill, thanks for joining us. Please, for our viewers, can you give us a quick introduction to Alien Metals, where you are and what you do?
Sure, Tim, and good morning to you. Alien Metals, as you mentioned, is an AIM-listed junior resource mineral explorer. We currently have projects in two very stable mining jurisdictions, core being in Mexico, and the second area is Australia. So two very well-known and respected and low-risk environments for the mining industry. In Australia, we have the Elizabeth Hill silver mine, which we are just in the process of finalising the acquisition, 100%, which was one of the highest grade silver mines historically in Australia, including a spectacular 180 kilogram nugget that was produced from the mine. Mining ceased in 2000. And there remains a substantial resource both in the existing mine and also in the area around, with other targets to be pursued. We also have 51% interest in two very exciting high-grade iron ore projects in the Pilbara region as well in Western Australia. That's the Hancock and the Brockman. Both of these are have already given us potential for DSO, direct shipping ore grade material at potentially good economic volumes. In Mexico, we have portfolio projects in Zacatecas district, which is the highest producing silver district of Mexico. We have two very exciting silver projects, Los Campos and San Celso. Both with historic silver mining projects, but we're working them up to bringing them up to today's potential. And also, very importantly, Donovan 2, which is a copper gold VMS target, very close to Tex San Nicolas.
Very massive sulfide, is that right, VMS?
That's correct, yeah. So volcanic massive sulfide. This particular one is a blind one where there's no real surface expression. However, from some historic work in old wells and underground, and some recent geophysics, which we can chat on, yeah, very encouraging potential for hosting an exciting ore deposit.
So, just to summarise that, we've got iron ore and good grade iron ore in Australia and silver in Australia,
yep.
And silver, copper, and some gold in Mexico as well. Is that right?
That's correct. The gold's probably not as prevalent as the copper on the Donovan 2 project. However, for the silver projects as well, gold is often a byproduct of these types of mineralization. They're not the core mineral. However, they can, depending on obviously as projects advance and mining develops, potentially there is always a percentage, hopefully, of gold as well.
A nice little byproduct.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So iron ore, silver, Western Australia.
Yep.
Gold, copper, and silver in Mexico.
Yep.
It's a lot of projects, and you're a small company, a small management team. How are you coping with having that many projects on the go at any one time?
I think it might seem on the surface a lot of projects. However, we have an excellent team in Mexico. We have a country manager with 20 plus years experience working in the industry. He's actually his background is a mining engineer, and he's been with the company, the previous company, and now with us for many years. We also have some excellent geologists who over the years have worked on program-based work and are always available to get involved as next stage of work develops. And the same in Australia. We have some core myself, having graduated and worked in Australia, still have some excellent contacts there. And again, we have a core team of people, technical people who basically do the majority of the technical work, the review work, the planning, and even the field work, which leaves us, sort of the management team, to focus on the higher level work, looking at new projects, talking to potential partners, things like that. So we feel we're well covered, and we have good experience and good base of teams in each country to be able to have this current spread.
A very experienced management team on board with extensive networks in Australia and Mexico, and that's delivering it for you, is it really?
Absolutely, and I suppose both on the technical side, I suppose that's where I bring that sort of experience and contacts in, and from the corporate side with Dan, the chairman, and James Cable and Chris as directors, who more UK based, but we have a good spread of experience and contacts to just constantly add value and add ideas and push the company forward.
Okay, let's talk about copper for a moment. It's been in the news the last few days with Peru and Chile cutting back on their production, and they account for what, something like 40% of the world's production.
Yeah.
The supply of copper being hit, the demand for copper with electric vehicles ever being increasing and more demand coming on all the time. You've just announced some very exciting copper discoveries at Donovan 2. Can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Well, yeah, the Donovan 2 project was sort of left on the sidelines for many years by the sort of our predecessors, and however, in the last 18 months, we've gradually done staged phases of work, which led us to the last piece of work, which was a ground-induced polarization magnetic survey, which basically is one of the types of geophysical surveys used to try and pick up anomalies such as this volcanic massive sulfide being the core word, that are blind, that are hidden, basically. The results came back. We were hampered by one area of the tenement we couldn't actually access at the time, which was unfortunate because the edge of one of the main anomalies was on that area. However, with some previous gravity work and also ground magnetic work, we're highly encouraged by all the results now combined together, combined with, as I mentioned earlier, some sampling of old water wells and what is seen as possibly an old mining mine work, but actually appears more like just a deeper water well of some 20 odd meters in one particular area, where we extracted samples that were running over 3% copper in situ rather than from being in place. And one of the IP anomalies is the edge of it is coincident again with this location. So we're very encouraged by it. We now feel with a little bit more sort of detailed research and review, and possibly talking to another party with a lot of experience of the San Nicolas project, the tech project. Hopefully we're planning to define accurate drill hole locations, and when obviously the pandemic, the pressure and the ability of people to move safely back into the area, and obviously based on having funding to do some initial drilling.
Okay, you said 3% copper. I think average discovery is around about 0.8% or something like that. So this sounds quite a high grade.
It is a high grade. There's from that particular area, just off the top of my head, there were 4 or 5 samples between 1.5%, 2%, and the highest was 3.3% copper. I was there in January. I unfortunately, I didn't have the time to actually go enter into the well. However, there were samples we looked at that had come out of the well at surface, and I'm just working up some imagery, and you can actually see the green copper, the greeny blue copper mineralization on the rocks, which is very exciting. So yes, it's looking incredibly interesting, and I should say we are in discussion with several larger groups who have shown an interest in looking at this project and potentially going forward, working with us on this going forward.
Exciting. You mentioned the current COVID pandemic. Is that affecting operations particularly?
Of course. I mean, we as a company, we need to ensure everyone's kept safe and out of harm's way. So, and also obviously conform to government guidelines. But more importantly, is to ensure that everybody is safe who works for us, either directly or indirectly. So we are able at the moment, as I say, this survey information back from Donovan is very timely, because a lot of it now can be like computer-based processing, etc. Discussions, meetings, talking with potential partners. We're also doing work on the Hammersley projects, reviewing, postulating, formulating ideas, plans. Similarly with the silver projects in Mexico, so that we're hoping that we will be in a position, as I said, when movement is possible and people can get back in the field, to hit the ground running per se, and enact some of these field work we've been planning and that have unfortunately been delayed.
I was going to ask you, when we all do get back to work, what does, in big picture terms, what does the rest of the year hold for you? What should shareholders be looking out for in terms of moves?
Yeah, I mean, we're working as hard as we can and to add value constantly to the projects. We are restricted obviously by the fact that I can't go and stand on the ground and hit a rock, or we can't go and put a drill hole in any of these projects at the moment. However, as I say, if Mexico seems possibly, and actually Australia, are both, they're not as affected as say we are in the UK or Europe. So things might loosen up sooner there in the next couple of months. It's impossible to say, but that's the indications we're getting. So I would say keep an eye out for hopefully some drilling. So, because we do need to, and we want to do some drilling on Donovan too. Some work coming out of the iron ore, the Hammersley iron ore projects, in terms of interpretation work, planning work. Again, in Australia, you need to have power POWs to be able to go on the ground, but we can start processing those in the meantime. The silver projects as well. Also, we're reviewing a lot of historic data we recently found, hoping to release some more information on the underground workings there, how they relate to current grades, current information, and how we can best drill those two projects when able to start bringing them up to speed and hopefully develop resources for both of them.
Bill, thank you very much. That was Bill Brodie Good, Technical Director of Alien Metals, listed on the AIM market with the wonderful ticker of UFO. As we heard there, exciting projects in high quality iron ore, silver, and really high grade copper out in Mexico. So we'll look forward to the market being updated throughout the year. Bill, thank you very much for joining us. That's been it today from Blythe Business News. Thank you.